Yo, what's going on, everyone? It's Chase. So today we'll be looking at ES, which is the S&P 500, NQ, which is the Nasdaq, Bitcoin, BTC, and Ethereum. Okay. As usual, I'm trying to give you guys a look into my trading system and how I approach the week, how I actually get towards actionable setups, and we'll get right into that. So the first thing I do when I look at a chart, I'm usually looking at the daily or the weekly. We're here on the weekly right now. And what I'm looking for is I'm looking for supply or demand levels. I'm looking for key liquidity levels. Fair value gap, market structure break. There's a couple different things I look for. I'll show you guys an example right now. I will just mark up the first chart. So here we have a weekly supply level. Here we have a weekly liquidity low that got swept. Okay, and I would mark this out like this. I like putting the lines on it as well because when you're acting and when you're working within ES, price can move quickly. Okay, so you don't always have time to set your orders perfectly, and it's actually sometimes it's a speed thing, right? There's times where I'm like, oh shit, it's deviating the level. I got to get in here and I got to type 3 different orders in very quickly. The entry price, the stop, and my target. Okay, so what I'd be looking for in a situation like this, just starting on ES here, and we'll move into crypto and whatnot, but I want to just give you guys an example of the trading system. Or just one aspect of it. Let's say we move up into here and we deviate this level and we're back below, or we'll be looking for a potential short scenario. I had posted a trade like this to Twitter. I can show you exactly how you deviate a supply and how it works. So I was on a daily on the Nasdaq. I believe it was here. So let's pretend we were just doing the same thing here, right? Marking out a daily supply on the Nasdaq. And we go down to, say, an hourly time frame. You deviate inside, right? So this is what I'm talking about. You move up in here, you're back below, and I believe I went off of a break of a 15-minute fair value gap. Let me see. Whoops. Now, obviously, you're getting more and more detailed here, but this is this type of stuff you got to do to find your entries. So you had a 15-minute fair value here. You deviate into the daily supply. You come down. You test it again. You deviate into the daily supply again. You come back down. You lose it, basically. You don't fully close through it here. You get a little close right there that shows like some weakness, and you're digging it over and over again. And I believe I just shorted the top of it or the mid of it, and then you got a big breakdown. Of course, I did not play this full breakdown. This was a huge nuke day. I just targeted the first liquidity, being completely honest with you. But that's how it works for me, because on another day, it'll just take this liquidity and it'll bounce. So maybe since this was into daily supply, I could have tried to play it longer, maybe to these lows, but I certainly wouldn't have played it like all the way down to there. So, it is what it is. It's at the end of the day, it's a winning trade, and it's something that I find is consistent, playing these deviations into daily supplies, liquidity levels, etc. All right. Hopefully everyone has their water. Let's clear this chart off. Let's go back to ES. We'll keep working from the top down and give you guys the examples. So weekly supply, weekly liquidity. So what I'm looking at right now, I don't even really care about that level, right? So I was just showing you a weekly supply, demand, liquidity, FEG, market structure breaks, etc., etc. So what I'm looking for is a move into here, deviation, back down. But what am I targeting? The target, now we got to move down because we don't see anything clear on this weekly anymore, right? We don't see any really weekly demand. You could mark out like a weekly SR here, right? So it comes up, rejects, powers through. This will probably have confluence when we move down to the daily. So let's move down to the daily. There you go, right there. So what I would do right here, though, is I'd be taking profit below this low. It's pretty confluent with that, right? But what we're doing is we're taking the most likely profit-taking scenario. If this is a very bullish market and it comes up into here, I said if, by the way. I didn't say it's a very bullish market, but I said if. So if it comes up into here and it comes into here, well, then I want to take profit quickly right here rather than waiting for this perfect, SR flip, because this is where a lot of people will be waiting. I'm more interested in the liquidity level because it might just wick this real quick. It might just do whoop, little wick, and then, maybe it goes there later, but who wants to sit in another, day or two of action, or if, maybe it might be a couple hours of action. This could happen in 15 minutes. This could happen in an hour. But if you want all the way down, you might be looking at longer. And I like quick, easy, nice trades. As always, these videos are sponsored by Prime XBT. If you're looking to trade ES, you can trade it on Prime under the ticker SP500 if you're looking to trade this asset. It trades very cleanly, just like NQ, whereas crypto, not so much lately. It just is what it is. That's the truth. Now, if this goes into here first, then the trade is so-so. We'd have to see what it looks like. But I do begin to lose confidence if we sweep this into here, because then it's like my target is gone, and I like to have a target, a clear, nice target when I go for an entry. Okay, so that would reduce my confidence in taking that short-term trade. But at the same time, since this is a weekly supply level, it might just mean that the market is going to test it more, maybe chop a little bit up here, and then give a more significant retracement, say down to something like this. Okay, even if this gets swept. So that's how I look at this upcoming week and how I'd look to trade it. I worked from a weekly supply. I moved down to a daily liquidity as a target level. Hopefully that's making sense. Okay, let's move on to NQ. NQ is very similar, even though it already started to work into the weekly supply. Okay, so NQ here, working into the weekly supply. Let's mark it out. This, like that. Okay, so we dug into it and we retraced. Let's look at the daily. The daily still has our target here of liquidity. Okay, and these type of concepts, guys, you can apply them. You know, you're just seeing the weekly and the daily here, but you can apply this stuff on 4 hour. You can apply this stuff on hourly. You can apply this on 15, 5 minute. I can't say the same for crypto at the moment because they're just not in the volume, but understand that the more volume and the more participants, the cleaner these price action concepts typically work out. If you ever traded during an FOMC, you will legitimately find clean setups on ES on the 15-second time frame. It's crazy. So just the more volume that's flooding the market, typically the cleaner moves you're going to get. And it's not just something that I can prove from Tradfi, or traditional finance, whatever you want to say, but you can see it from, remember, like coin launches like Ape, when you get these big uni, when Uniswap first launched this token, when you get these huge high volume tokens that the whole market's focused on, you get very clean trading. And I remember posting a lot of charts on Uni, a lot of charts on Ape, a lot of trades for those. So that's what you want. You want volume, and there's plenty of great volume on ES and NQ lately. It's why it's been mostly my main focus. Like I said, Prime offers ES under the ticker S&P 500. Not chilling it just because the exchange sponsor. It's genuinely where I think the better price action is right now if you're a trader. I think it's obvious. I think if you look at the daily chart, you're seeing these nice full-bodied candles. You're seeing clean moves. You're seeing supplies form, liquidity form, fair value gaps form. You're seeing sweeps of liquidity perfectly, rejection. Right off of a daily supply, double confluence right there, right? And you go over here and you're just seeing chop, news, XRP is not a security, BlackRock, SpaceX sells their Bitcoin, more chop. You're not seeing clean price action over here, you're just seeing news price action. And that's my firm belief. Don't get me wrong, there's plenty of great traders on CT who have nailed a couple of these moves lately, but in my opinion, those guys, they were great traders before this news market. Their current trades are just honestly lucky. If Grayscale lost here, if this was a Grayscale loss, it would have went like this instead of up. And that's my honest opinion, because I think it's hard to say otherwise, because you don't get any moves in between. There is no market in between the news. There isn't a market. There's only BlackRock, or there's only XRP is not a security, BlackRock files for ETF, SpaceX sells. What was this one? There's so many fucking news lately. Oh, Grayscale wins the case. And they all just full retrace, so none of them are really meaningful. Yeah, I mean, that's my little rant for now. And we don't have to do too much more on that, but that's how I see it at the moment. Nonetheless, looking at these charts, again, ES could work into the daily supply. We look for target liquidity. NQ already working into the daily supply, but ES has not yet, so we wouldn't want to necessarily be going full short on NQ just yet, targeting this, but we could look at some local price action, see if anything's developing. We do have a quality sweep here. And that's the thing about NQ and ES, guys, is you'll get a lot of price action. Like, it's hard to call this stuff ahead of time with ES and NQ because you get a lot of price action in pre-market that's going to set up the trade. Like, there could be, so let's say this is what the current sweep we're looking at, and let's say in pre-market we make a high here and we make a high here. Now you have like 3 equal highs, and maybe there's consolidation here, maybe it sweeps and it rips up and it's back below, and that's when I look for a short. It would be looking for the short here, or it would be looking for the short here right off the daily supply. Boom, target the liquidity right into here, okay? So again, while I can give you this basic thesis about what I'm looking for on NQ and ES, do understand that if you're day trading it, things can look very differently by the time this video is over to the time that you're looking at it, when the market's opening in the morning, okay? Moving forward, looking at BTC, just want to give you guys a viewpoint here. This has been a strong uptrend here on NQ, strong uptrend on ES, coming into this local supply level, coming into local supply here. On Bitcoin, we have had a strong uptrend as well, but in my opinion, as of late, we have simply nuked this level. I don't think that's really bullish. I think what we were seeing is we were seeing uptrend, retracement, pump. Uptrend, retracement, pump, uptrend, and obviously consolidations during these uptrends. Retracement, where's the pump? Oh, we got a dump instead. So we're seeing a contextual market change here. And then what we can do is we'll apply the same concepts to Bitcoin that we applied to ES and NQ. We'll say, okay, well, where's the weekly demand, or where's the weekly liquidity, or the weekly fair value gap? What I'm seeing here is I'm seeing a potential weekly fair value gap on Bitcoin. And we go over to ETH, and I'm seeing a potential weekly fair value gap, bearish fair value gap on ETH. Okay, both of them being bearish. The ETH one was cleaner. Might have to start looking at ETH price action again more. I had originally played a short on 26.8 for Bitcoin. But here was the thing. When it comes to Bitcoin, and I believe everyone knows this for the most part, when it comes to Bitcoin, if it's going to leg or if it's going to dump, you do not get a clean retest. So this retest really surprises me, but it actually doesn't surprise me because in my opinion it was a news-based movement. Okay, if there was no news, this wouldn't have pumped like that. That's just my opinion on it. Okay, and if you look at ETH, look at how much cleaner it traded. If I would have traded it with ETH, it would have been better. It stayed in the lower half of the fair value gap, which is typically what you want to see. While it can push all the way through, you do have to be careful depending on how many times it tests the other side. But this is typically cleaner when you just get a midpoint test. That's what you're looking for. A nice test to the midpoint. Pretty perfect there on Ethereum. Like I said, I'll start looking at it more. But let's go from there and see what else we could be looking for. So again, weekly bearish fair value gap on Bitcoin, weekly bearish fair value gap on ETH. And what's really next for them? We'll start with Bitcoin because it's the leader. I'd say you had a sweep of liquidity up here, so I'm not really seeing any major liquidity to the upside outside of 32K, which I just don't think is on the table unless we get the ETF. Again, this is a disappointment to me because I had talked about BTC and thinking that it should at least get up towards this above the equilibrium to the 618. That's typically where bear market rallies get to. And I'm not saying we can't get there yet. It may just look something like this. It goes into the bearish fair value gap. It comes down. We test, say, something like this, and then maybe we get the ETF approval some point later, closer to 2024. Okay, and then that would be your selling point of the bear market rally. With that said, looking at this in general and locally, I see the sweep here. I see the breakdown. I see the test and the rejection from the bearish fair value gap. I look at this low. And this low is not swept in a lot of places. So if you go to like a Coinbase, it's not swept. If you go to like a Bitstamp, it's not swept. This low is all over the place. In my opinion, this market is, it's supposed to be a somewhat of a mature market at this point, and it's acting like it's his first year ever trading. The volume is low. The books are extremely thin. On one of these moves, I forget which one it was, I got like 500 points of slippage or something. It was absurd, and I don't even trade with any type of crazy size. The size was nothing special, and I got 500 points of slippage. I talked about that on Twitter, taking a 1.5 or a 1.6 R loss instead of my typical 1 R loss. It's unacceptable, and that was on one of the biggest exchanges the market has to offer. It's not, it's not anything else. Okay, 1 second. So moving down to the daily, sweeps up here, big breakdown, rejection off the bearish fair value gap. This low would be my first target, just because this low is not swept on all the exchanges. So this low would be a first target, and this low is really where I think we should ultimately go to and trade below here into this area. And I think the reasoning is just that the lows on all the exchanges are way too sporadic. Some of them are 26.2, some of them are 24.8, some of them are into the 23Ks. I feel like we need to, correct the inefficiencies, the, for lack of better words, ridiculousness, illiquid market. That needs to be corrected. It shouldn't be luck of the draw whether you get an entry or not. So some people got in on this sweep, but on like 10 other exchanges, nobody got in. Somebody got a fill on, let's say, I think it was OKX or BitMEX or something here, and it went all the way down to here or something, and they got liquidated or stopped out. It just makes no sense. So all these random lows and all these different exchanges, it's just completely dog shit. So I think we need to come down and, correct all of that and let the market participants have an opportunity to trade it properly. And that may be like cope, and I'm asking for something irregular, but I'm not asking for anything irregular. If you look at any of these normal traditional markets, there's no bullshit like this occurring. If this is a big boy market, so to say, give some big boy price action and have it trade properly. So all these random lows across all these different exchanges, we should wipe them all out into here, consolidate, and then at that point, I really think a lot of this is news based. If we get the ETF approval, I do think we can easily go do a big ripper, right? Maybe we'll have one of these things. So we get the ETF approval, you get the candle. You probably just have to FOMO that because you're not going to get any type of strong retracement. It's going to go again. You take the 32 liquidity, small pullback, a little more into 35, 36, 37, somewhere around there, and then probably cools off around 32, see what happens around there. That is a possible scenario that I'd be eyeing. If it's an ETF rejection, if it's a rejection, count it all out. We're taking out all this. I just don't think this market doesn't look bullish from a technical perspective. It couldn't even do a strong bear market rally. It's a pretty weak bear market rally. If we just get negative news on top of negative news, it doesn't look good in my opinion. And we'd have to see what we're looking to buy down there. But again, it's not even fully worth talking about right now because it's just a news-based market, guys. That's it. Do you only get a move during the news? And when you don't have news, this is the price action you get. When you don't have news, this is the price action you get. It's as simple as that. So try not to get chopped up. Come over and try some ES, try some NQ. That's all I could say. Moving over towards Ethereum. I think, if Bitcoin does come down, well, obviously Ethereum's going to go lower. If Bitcoin crashes hard. There's this liquidity low. It's a little weird. For the meantime, if Bitcoin comes down and sweeps this low like this, if we just take the 24s, which would be fine for now. I don't think we need to immediately go for 23s. But if we just did the 24s first, which would even out a good deal of the exchanges, then we'll probably see Ethereum test 1500 again, take this low. You can see the confluence of this level. It'll test it. It'll, probably deviate it a little bit, reclaim it, potential trade there. So yeah, I think that's pretty clear about what I'm looking for on ES, NQ, Bitcoin, and Ethereum. Is there anything really to talk about? Yeah, I ranted about the news stuff. It is what it is. I don't think I need to rant on it much more. The market's just slow, guys. You can see crypto Twitter's very slow. You can see a lot of people complaining. There's a lot of people finally coming to the realization that this price action has been garbage. It took them quite some time. I'm seeing a lot of people eating repetitive stop outs. I'm seeing a lot of people saying that things have changed. And if you recall, I told you that things changed a long time ago, 2 months ago, I believe, somewhere in the middle of July. I told you that things had changed, or maybe it was June or July, one of those months. I told you that things had gotten different in the market, and I still believe they're different now. We've finally seen a clean move on Ethereum. We'll keep an eye on this. If we can get some more clean moves, maybe volume and participation is picking back up into the winter months, and maybe we can find some more trading opportunities off of that. With all that said, as always, I thank you very much for being here. Please like and retweet the tweet. If this video was helpful to you, throw a thumbs up. Leave a comment about all the stuff that I talked about and what you think. In the comments, I always reply to you guys. I like to hear what you got to say. And I think that's about it. Thank you very much, and I will catch you next time. Peace out.